So today's notes are about the seasons. First thing we want to do is set up our Cornell notes. So make sure your title is at the top, your essential questions right beneath it. Make sure you have a section for your main notes here, a section for your questions here, and a summary at the bottom. Make sure you skip about 4 or 5 lines. If you need to do this, pause the video and do it now. Our essential questions for today are: how does Earth move through space? And what causes the seasons? And remember, you're going to answer these in your summary. And here's our first note. So Earth moves through space in 2 ways: rotation and revolution. Rotation is defined as the spinning of Earth on its axis. And the axis is an invisible line through Earth, drawn through the poles. It's this orange line right here. And basically the Earth rotates on its axis. 1 rotation equals 1 day in time. Revolution is defined as the movement of an object around another object. In this case, it's the Earth revolving around the sun. And the Earth revolves around the sun once every year. So every 365 days, the Earth makes 1 complete revolution around the sun. You may already have these diagrams in your notes. If you do not, please pause the video and draw them now, as they will be important later. Okay, so first thing we have to talk about when we talk about seasons is how the sun hits the Earth. And it's different depending on where you are. So if we look at the equator, which is here, you'll notice that the sun is more directly overhead. That's called direct light. That's because technically the equator is closer to the sun. If we're up where we are, over in Connecticut, which is about here, or even closer to the poles, you get what's called indirect light, which means we have a lower angle of sunlight, which means it's spread out over a larger area. What this means is it's going to be warmer down here and cooler up here, because the less sunlight that directly hits the Earth, the cooler it is. So I want you to draw this in your notebook. You do not have to make these big lines. You can just make them arrows. Please pause the video and do this now. Okay, so how the seasons occur is basically because of Earth's tilt on its axis and its revolution around the sun. So if you look at this diagram, you'll see that we have June, September, December, and March. We have spring, summer, fall, and winter. And you'll notice the Earth stays in relatively the same tilt at all times. But also what you'll notice is a different part of the Earth has more sun than other parts. That's what causes our seasons. So please draw this diagram in your notes as well. So what I want you guys to notice is that during the year, the northern hemisphere is pointed toward the sun, which is our summer, for part of it, and away from the sun for part of it, which is our winter. So here we see our summer solstice. So the northern hemisphere is pointed toward the sun, and in winter, it's pointed away from the sun. What this means is the northern hemisphere in the summer gets more direct sunlight and less direct sunlight in December or in winter. These are called solstices. So solstices are days when the sun reaches the furthest above or below the equator. For fall and spring, we get equal amounts of sunlight. So your fall is here and your spring is here. These are called equinoxes. Day and night times are nearly equal. On the actual equinox, you'll see that you'll have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of no daylight. That's what an equinox is. And that concludes our notes for today. The last thing you need to do is write your questions and summary. So the 3 questions that will help you review the notes. Remember, we don't want any what questions. You want to use words like explain or describe or compare. No what questions. The last thing you want to do is write a 4 or 5 sentence summary that answers the 2 essential questions. which were how does Earth move through space and what causes the seasons. And that's it.